I remember going to see them at Manchester Apollo, my favourite Manchester venue, and I had tickets front row of the circle, not cheap, and I wasn't allowed to go to the circle. Why? Because it was closed, ladies and gentlemen, Follocks, and they asked why it was closed. And I was told, oh, well, I think they just want people to get closer to the stage. Well, it weren't an enormous amount of people at ground level either. This was the tour for Demolition, the Judas Priest album, Demolition. The second with Ripper Owens, who has stepped into the shoes, enormous shoes, of Rob Halford, who of course had gone on to do other things, Fight, and Two, number 2, that's of its time, isn't it? I might have to go and revisit that. And because I talked about and revisited the Blaze Bayley albums with Iron Maiden, another big shoe-filling situation, I wanted to reacquaint myself with the Judas Priest albums, particularly this one, the first one with Ripper Owens, Jugulator, terrible name for an album. I mean, it has that cover of the big robot, doesn't it? It's a drawing. It looks a bit messy, and that's the way I feel about this album. Now, I think it was KK Downing who said, and generally people aren't massively keen on this album, I think it was KK Downing who said, well, it was, we kind of missed 2 albums. The last one before this was Painkiller. This is the Painkiller, which is a hard album, isn't it? It's not turbo. So this album is very much, actually, of its time. It's out in 97, and it does sound very much like a lot of the metal music at the time. Ripper Owens has said, by the way, it's better than Nostradamus. Yep, but that's right, but I don't know of many albums in the metal genre that aren't better than Nostradamus. Yeah, I might have to visit that as well. Oh dear. Anyway, it's quite crowded, this album. It sometimes breaks through that and has the sleeker lines of Judas Priest riffing, but Jugulator itself, it's got a portentous guitar and a big swaying riffing, but it's just a bit too busy. It's got loads going on, including some kind of hardcore gang shouts. There's almost growls in here, and that would be a link to perhaps the music, the metal of the time. The chorus is sort of buried, and it's an impressive vocal. It is partially here to show you just how good Ripper Owens is and how well he can sing this kind of music. And of course, he was seen in a Judas Priest covers band, wasn't he? So it was there's a film, isn't there? Is Rockstar based on the Ripper Owens story? I think it is, isn't it? Maybe people can remind me. Anyway, Bloodstained does bang along. The vocal is dramatic, and I think that Ripper Owens does a fantastic job on this. With the metal, the Iron Maiden, certainly the first album, The X Factor, you can kind of hear that Blaze Bayley isn't ideally suited for those songs. He's suited much better for Virtual 11, the more accessible follow-up. But here, Ripper Owens does a great job. It's just that the songs aren't here. There are some gang, almost hardcore shouts again here, and downbeat harmonies. It kind of rolls, but it's over-dense, Bloodstained. It needs some air. Death Row has a bit of that. Sleek metal riff, simpler, gang chorus, it's basic, that's better. And even though Decapitate has a brooding, tougher metal feel, there is plenty of room in here. Burning Hell, it's almost as if as they get through the album they're thinking, well actually, we've come through the murk and now we'll give you more of what you might expect from a sleeker, smoother, nastier, sharper, Judas Priest album. However, Burn in Hell, although it's got that, is nothing special. But I don't half like the nasty short solo in Brain Dead. It's a harder chorus, it's a groovier riff, rather like it. You've got some almost growls in Abductors, and that's not really what I'm here to enjoy from Judas Priest. There's almost a Tom Morello kind of leaping, vaulting, sirening solo. And probably the best thing on here is Cathedral Spires, which is a tough metallic push with a martial feel to it. There are several parts to this. It's got a chant with Ripper's vocal gymnastics, and Ripper Owens, as I say, produces something really good here. It's just that the songs are too busy and they're trying too hard, and they reflect what's happening in metal at the time. It's a tougher kind of Pantera feel, and it's a bit late for Pantera, I suppose, isn't it? 1997? No, actually, it's just after the Great Southern Trendkill, isn't it? So, yeah, I had to check that. But it does reflect some of the harder metallic elements that are coming out, the more hardcore elements. And I think that for me, that's not ideal. It's neither one thing nor the other. It's still a Judas Priest album, but it doesn't sound like the Judas Priest album you might want. I think, if I remember rightly, that Demolition is more that kind of album. But I'll revisit that next, because I'm also not sure whether it actually has the song quality. This certainly doesn't, and I'm sorry for that, because Ripper Owens looked right, sounded right, was the right fit for this band, and should have re-energised them in the way that they have recently been re-energised by a youthful member of the band. But it didn't happen this time. The time wasn't quite right, and that is a real shame. The title, Jugulator. Blimey. Ta-ta.